silence of the mountain envelops me, and the wind, mixed with my accelerated breathing, is the only thing I hear. Here I am, in the middle of nowhere, facing a battle that goes beyond the physical. It goes deep into the depths of my soul. Every step I take on this rugged terrain is an internal dialogue between the desire to move forward and the temptation to stop. It all began hours ago, in the dim light of dawn. At first, energy flowed through my veins like an overflowing torrent. My fresh muscles responded with precision and strength to every command. But now, with the sun high overhead and my body drenched in sweat, exhaustion begins to tinge every thought. The miles pile up like a heavy slab on my shoulders, each inhalation a conscious effort, and each exhalation a small release from the burden pressing down on me. In the midst of this challenge, my mind becomes a fierce battleground. Why are you here? A treacherous voice whispers to me from deep within my consciousness. Stop, you've done enough. No one will judge you if you give up now. Look at your legs, they're shaking. The pain is unbearable. Just one more step and you could fall. There is no glory in suffering. The voice is soft but insistent. A snake slithering through my mind, planting seeds of doubt, trying to drag me towards giving up. I know it's not the first time I've heard these whispers, these siren songs that promise relief in exchange for renunciation. I've been here before. I have felt this same temptation. I know that this voice is not my enemy, but a part of me that reflects my fear and vulnerability. In that instant, I decide to practice mindfulness. I breathe deeply, feel the fresh air filling my lungs, hear the crunch of the earth beneath my feet, feel the rhythmic beat of my heart. I am here. I am present. I am alive. With each breath, I let go of the despair that tries to cling to my spirit. I remember the words of an old mentor. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. And with that thought, I feel a spark of resolve ignite within me. I'm not here to win a medal or for fleeting glory. I am here because this race is a mirror that reflects my soul. Because every step I take forward is an affirmation of my will to live, to fight, to be more than I ever dreamed of being. As the road gets steeper, my muscles burn like liquid fire. My feet feel blistered. Each impact on the ground is a little torture, but there is something deeper beginning to emerge. A memory. A quote I once heard that resonates now more strongly than ever. When you feel you can't take it anymore, that you've reached your limit, that's when you're just beginning to discover your true potential. These words become my mantra, a beat in rhythm with my own heartbeat. There are times when the exhaustion is so overwhelming that my thoughts fade into a haze of pain and fatigue. But in those moments, in the deepest darkness, I find a surprising clarity. I remember the nights of training in the rain, the early mornings I ran alone under the stars, the sacrifices I made to be here. Each of those moments was a brick in the foundation of my strength. Each sacrifice a declaration of my desire to be something more, to go beyond my limits. Then, in a final act of defiance, my mind goes silent. The voice that once urged me to stop fades, and in its place, an unexpected calm emerges. I realize that the mountain is not my enemy. The pain is not my enemy. Not even exhaustion is my enemy. They are my allies on this journey, each playing their part in revealing to me who I really am. As I continue to trudge along the rocky path, my breathing heavy and my body on the verge of collapse, my mind sinks into a deep state of reflection. The fatigue is crushing. Every muscle in my body screams for a breath, for a moment of relief. But there is something that keeps me moving, something that goes beyond the simple desire to cross the finish line. In this overwhelming solitude, surrounded by the vastness of the mountain, I begin to understand more clearly why I am here and what this experience really means to me. I remember the words of the Stoics, which have accompanied me so much in moments of doubt and pain. Memento mori. Remember that you are mortal. I understand now, more than ever, that this race is a metaphor for life itself. Each step I take brings me a little closer to my end, and although my body feels exhausted, each step is also a celebration of being alive, of being able to feel, to experience. At this moment, under the scorching sun and with trembling legs, I learn to appreciate what I have. This inner strength, this will to keep going no matter what. Along the way, my mind brings to mind other philosophical learnings I have acquired over the years. I think of Marcus Aurelius's teaching. Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate has surrounded you, but do it with all your heart. In the midst of pain and fatigue, I realize that this race is not just a physical challenge, but an opportunity to connect with myself and the world around me. I think of the people who have supported me to get this far. My loved ones, my friends, the coaches who believed in me when I was doubting. They are the ones who give true meaning to my effort. They are the ones who make it all worthwhile. As my feet shuffle along the dusty trail, I think about the impermanence of things. I realize that, as in life, this race is full of ups and downs, moments of elation and despair. And just as in life, what matters is not the final destination, but how I face each of those moments. I remember the words of Epictetus. It is not the things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. This race is just another road, a set of miles and inclines. But what gives it its true weight is my interpretation of each step I take. I can see each slope as an impossible obstacle, or I can see it as an opportunity to prove to myself what I'm made of. The most valuable lesson I'm learning right now is that pain is a patient and constant teacher. It is not an enemy to be defeated, but an ally that shows me my own weaknesses, my limits, and gives me the opportunity to overcome them. I realize that in many ways, this race has taught me to let go of my attachment to the superficial. In the mountains, it doesn't matter what car I drive, what house I live in, or what objects I own. Here, all that really matters is the strength of my will, the clarity of my mind, and the resilience of my body. Here, I learn to value what really matters: health, determination, and the human connections that give meaning to everything. Stoicism has taught me to focus on what I can control and let go of what I cannot. In this race, I can't control the terrain, the weather, or the difficulties along the way. But I can control my response to them. I can choose to keep moving forward, step by step, breath by breath. And in this choice, I find my freedom, my true power. As I approach the last stretch, I am also reminded of the importance of gratitude. I am grateful for this pain because it reminds me that I am alive. I am grateful for this fatigue because it teaches me to appreciate rest. I am grateful for each obstacle because it gives me the opportunity to overcome it. I think of Seneca's philosophy. It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that things are difficult. I dare to keep going because I know that in the end, the real value of this experience is not in coming first or last, but in all that I learn about myself along the way. I also think about the simplicity of life. This race has taught me to value the simple things. The pleasure of a cool breeze on a hot day, the sound of water running down a stream, the feel of my feet hitting the ground, connecting me to the earth. I have learned that it is often the simplest things that bring the most joy, and that the true purpose of life is not to accumulate more, but to live each moment to the fullest. My feet keep pounding the dusty ground over and over again, as every muscle in my body burns with an ache that feels almost eternal. The fatigue is overwhelming, and the mountain, imposing, seems endless. But as I advance, my thoughts deepen, and my learnings emerge from the recesses of my mind, helping me to continue. Here, in the midst of wild nature, the teachings of Buddhism offer me guidance and solace that are as necessary as the air I breathe. I remember what I learned about impermanence. Everything is temporary, I tell myself. This race, this endless slope, this unbearable exhaustion, it will all pass. This too shall pass, I repeat to myself, letting myself be carried away by the simple, liberating truth of these words. The anguish I feel now, the temptation to stop, is only a transitory state of my mind. Nothing is permanent, neither pain nor joy, nor the feeling of defeat that sometimes tries to invade my being. Learning to relativize, to see things from a broader perspective, is a powerful tool to not feel blocked or overwhelmed by the difficulties of the moment. It is as if by running, I can also leave behind negative thoughts, letting them dissolve with each step, with each exhalation. In this context, the practice of mindfulness becomes crucial. I don't focus on the distant summit or the miles to go. Instead, I focus on the here and now. Every breath, every step is an act of presence. I remind myself that I'm not running just to get there, but for the simple act of running, for the connection I feel to the ground beneath my feet, to the fresh air filling my lungs, to the steady beat of my heart. This state of mindfulness allows me to calm my mind and find an inner refuge, a place of peace amidst the storm of sensations coursing through my body. But beyond myself, Buddhism has also taught me the importance of not focusing solely on my own thoughts and sufferings. I realize that much of the anguish comes from the ego, from that inner voice that insists on being the center of everything. Here, in the immensity of the mountain, I learn to decenter myself, to look beyond my own worries and difficulties. I am not the only one suffering, I remind myself. At this very moment, there are other runners on this same mountain, facing their own internal battles, fighting their own demons. Understanding this truth helps me practice empathy. I begin to send thoughts of strength to those around me, wishing them wellness and courage. I find that in this simple act of empathy, the weight of my own burden seems to lighten. Compassion and altruism become my anchor. The simple act of considering the suffering of others and desiring their relief gives me renewed strength. Instead of focusing on my pain, I try to open my heart. I tell myself that just as I run for me, I also run for those who cannot, for those who face more difficult battles than mine. I run for those who have lost hope, for those who seek to find meaning in their existence. And in doing so, I feel that each step has a purpose beyond myself. This running reminds me of the Buddhist teachings on non-attachment. I realize that I have often become attached to my own successes and failures, allowing them to define who I am. But here, on the mountain, I understand that I am not my successes or my failures. I am much more than that. I am the sum of my experiences, my learning, my relationships, and my intentions. Learning to detach myself from the need to be the best or to not fail frees me from an unnecessary burden. I allow myself to be imperfect, to be human. I allow myself to just be. In this context, I also learn the importance of interconnectedness. I understand that my well-being is intrinsically connected to the well-being of others. If I can find peace in the midst of chaos, perhaps I can help others find it as well. If I can stay strong, perhaps I can inspire others to do the same. This race is not just a test of physical endurance. It is an opportunity to deepen my understanding of human nature, of the interdependence that all living things share. In the last stretch of the race, as the sun begins to set and the shadows lengthen, I feel a renewed strength, an unexpected calm. It is not the explosive energy of the beginning, but a calm, steady force, like the constant rhythm of the ocean. I know the end is near, but it no longer matters. Every step I take now is a victory in itself. I no longer run against the mountain or the other competitors. I run with them, I run with the wind, I run with life itself. The end is near, but it doesn't matter so much anymore. What matters is that I am here, now, fully present in this moment. Every step I take is an affirmation of my existence, a reminder that I am alive, struggling, learning. And with each step, I come closer to understanding the true meaning of being here, running up the mountain, facing myself, discovering who I really am. Finally, as I approach the finish line, I don't feel the urge to speed up. Instead, I allow myself to enjoy the moment, the sense of accomplishment, the peace that comes with knowing I've given it my all. I have learned that at the end of the day, it is not the material things that give my life meaning, but the experiences, the learnings, the connections, and the knowledge that, no matter how difficult the road, I can always choose to move forward. I have found my reason for being here, and that reason is simple but powerful. I am here to live, to feel, to grow, and to be the best version of myself, over and over again, every step of the way. And when I finally cross the finish line, it's not with a shout of triumph, but with a serene smile. I have won more than a race. I have conquered the part of me that once doubted, that once feared. I have learned that the real challenge is not to surpass others, but to surpass myself again and again, every step of the way. In that moment, I realized that the real goal was never at the end of the path, but in the journey I took to get here. In every moment of despair, in every dark thought, I found the light. And that light is what will guide me in every race to come.